Crackers. This is Florida Cracker Chronicles. This is episode 1
Episode 1.
of our new YouTube channel
How about
podcast. Yeah. First story I wanted to start off with you all on this is my personal introduction into the service industry bar scene aspect. When I first started bar backing at a place I knew nothing about, never heard of it before. I quit 2 crappy jobs as a busser at both jobs, wearing like the whole monkey outfit, working my ass off for
I
like
did that too. It was my first job.
working like entire nights to get like $20 at the end of the night.
Yeah, it was not worth
Telling
it.
the bartenders and servers, telling you how much they appreciate you and putting like a crisp $5 bill in your hand. But anyway, so I quit both those jobs and started working at I didn't even know what a bar back was or what that entailed. I just thought it sounded cool.
What is a bar back for the people who don't?
The way it was described to me is you back up the bartender on all the supplies they need to do their job. So you're like the Robin to their Batman, and you go from there. You're basically like their
You're the restock boy,
yeah, you're their right hand man
and you just get yelled at all night for not having clean
or a
glasses.
woman. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen one.
And you
female
have
bar
people
back.
constantly mistaking you as a bartender, trying to get your attention. And then when you ask them what's up, they just start giving you a drink order,
Biggest pain in the ass, and I'm like,
and you look confused and scared.
they're ordering from you, and then you're like, let me grab you a bartender, and then they're like, well, why can't you do it?
Yeah.
Okay, but anyway.
So back to starts off in the year 2015. I'm a newly minted sophomore in college, and I just moved into a new place, based out of right out of Fort Myers in the Estero area, going to FGCU. I'm broke as fuck, and I need to make money. I knew that my 2 jobs, working all day and all night, were not cutting it, making like the lowest amount of money I possibly could. So I agreed to start bar backing for this bar on a Wednesday night, and that Wednesday night happens to fall on, I think it fell, whatever the 31st of 2015, October was. It was like my first time bar backing on a Halloween night at this like place. It's pretty much like a dive bar. And it was ladies' night too. So it's ladies' night starting at like 10. A DJ starts at 10, and it's all you can drink for girls if they pay like $10 for a wristband. So that brings in the flock of females dressed up the way some girls dressed up on Halloween night.
And they're not the good type of females that you want to see out on a Halloween night either.
It's not the sexy models that you're thinking of. It's like
you have Martha over in the corner smoking Newports and drinking,
dressed up as a fairy princess.
No business looking like a fairy princess,
but yet there's like 20 guys trying to hit on her and buy her like a freaking disgusting sex on the beach drink.
Disgusting.
So yeah, and then so I get there at like, because they told us to come in early, and we did. For the bartenders, the bar back, and the servers or whatever, mostly just bartenders that were also servers, and then us and some of the bouncers, and the theme for us was zombies and zombie slayers. So all the bartenders and barbacks were mostly dressed up as zombies with like face paint and like blood and gore and just shit all, like just wore a white t-shirt and jeans, and we doused ourselves in like disgusting like sticky like fake blood and makeup. And some of the bartender girls were like wearing like Daisy Dukes with like a fake axe like on their hip or whatever, trying to be cute and whatnot. And then the night unfolded on ladies' night, on Halloween night, and I'm just now learning how to like change. I learned how to change kegs, how to stock what kind of beers where and which beer coolers or beer pits, how much ice was in each speed well. I learned what a speed rail was, with like your house liquors and like the upper shelves of liquor. I learned where the liquor room was, where the keys to get that was, where the ice machine was. We didn't even run food. It was just liquor-based club scene from like 10 till 2 in the morning. And
you were there till 2 that night?
No, that's when we stopped. We stopped serving like at 2 on the dot. But
you just a full house at 2 though. Maybe
and I learned how to scoop up a keg with a dolly and then drag it from that back outside cooler to the inside, basically to the heart of the restaurant, right behind the bar where the cooler walk-in was. which was like a dungeon of like literally like 30 kegs
Yeah,
stopped
no,
all
I've
on
been
top
in
of
there.
stacked on top of each other. Yeah, like barely it was like dimly lit, like a freaking it was like a dungeon. But yeah, so first night there was like four bouncers out back at the back doors and then like four more at the front doors, like checking IDs and just in case anyone had to get bounced. And there's like two on the dance floor in the club part of area, and it was just that's just to give you an idea how like it was so packed, it's body to body. It was like it was well way over the fire limit capacity, whatever. And I'm pulling a keg. It was an outdoor patio bar in the front. They had to pull a keg through the freaking dance crowd to get. So those setup was so dumb. It's like bar, guest bar area where they're all dancing and talking, and then to get through there is the outside door to the patio bar.
Yes.
That's like a tiki bar. So I had to drag a keg on a dolly all the way through there. And on one of my trips coming back, I ran over a girl's foot with one of the fucking kegs that I'm trying to pull through, and this girl was like so ghetto. She started getting in my face, like threatening to fight me and beat my ass. And at that point, it was like it was like 1:30 in the morning. I'm just like, do it. I was like, please knock
my
me.
day.
Yeah, knock me the fuck out. I do not give a fuck. And then I said all that, and she was just like, bitch, and like, that was it. It was just like, okay. So I just kept like working, whatever. And this is like like keep in mind this is my first time bar backing at a bar on like this.
This is your first time behind a bar in general.
Yeah, doing this whatever.
What year was this?
2015.
15.
And I didn't know like what that kind of scene was like or what goes on behind a bar really, or how to even bar back. I was like learning as I was like flying by the seat of my pants or whatever.
Yeah, that's how you do it in this industry.
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah, that's the best way. And I
It's
had
a
like
lot of out of the frying pan.
yeah,
into
I had the
fire.
bartenders yelling at me, telling me what I was doing wrong, what I could have done better, how to do my job better, what not to do, stop being a freaking idiot, get my head on my ass, hurry the fuck up. Yeah, and I had to clean up like puke and broken glass and whatever they needed or said to do. I was like, hey, like get over there and do that.
You're a little bitch boy.
Yeah, I was the yes man with a towel and spray bottle in hand, and I'm just like, I was like a kid. I was like wide eyed and bushy tailed, like I'll do whatever you guys say. And they're like, we'll make you great. I'm like, all right. And that was that was like the hook that got me. And then
We'll make you great.
Yeah, we will build you into the ultimate bar back machine. And then at a few fights later, fucking crazy kids got kicked out. Seeing grown ass men and women behaving very animalistic, and once that night was over, we're sitting like I'm still cleaning everything. We're gonna have to edit this part.
Nope.
Oh God,
You're
she's
good.
here. Hi, sweetheart.
Yeah, you're fine.
We can edit this part, right?
Or whatever you want.
You do you.
Halloween,
Yeah.
and you were there till 2 a.m.
That's when we stopped serving. So yeah, so then once 2 a.m. hit, the lights turn on, bouncers are clearing everyone out, and
Did you have the good bouncers that were like, drop your drink and get the fuck out? Or were
Yeah,
they
yeah,
like,
no.
okay. Yeah, that's what you need though.
yeah, they're like almost to the point of like it was like cringy, like unpolite, unapologetic, like
You have to
rudeness.
be that
Yeah.
way
Has
because
to be
people
that
just
way.
won't
Yeah.
fucking leave.
They would
And
take
then
the drinks out of
I want
everyone's
to go
hands.
home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you'd have to be like, and it literally got to the point they were like, and we made a joke like, if you're not fucking working or helping the bartenders or the staff here clean or work, get the fuck out. And they're like
Exactly.
taking drinks out of people's hands, and then like at some point they'd be like kind of like herding them like in the droves, like
Yeah, you have to.
like in the groups, like exits, leave or whatever. But then once all that was said and done, the lights are on, like I'd be sweeping and like mopping and like putting up chairs and
yeah,
like
flipping chairs.
yeah, and like taking all the empty kegs to the back and restocking all the beers and finishing up with all the glassware. There was I'm not even kidding, there was like big piles, like mounds of cash on the one side of the bar where we'd all sit and congregate at the end of the night. So there's a huge mound of cash.
That you just found from the floor?
No, like the tip buckets.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
three,
they
there's
just
like
got- okay.
2 or 3 like big ass tip buckets, and at the end of the night they just like dump it there while the bouncers are finishing like locking the doors and flipping the rest of the chairs, whatever. And then there'd be like 3 or 4 like just random girls that we've never seen before. Like who are these people? and it was the ones that the bartender guys were like pulling from like the crowd, like, oh yeah, like let me get your number, like they're trying to like
Oh,
trying to, like,
okay,
hang out with them
yeah.
afterwards, yeah, like the after party
That
like
happens.
show, like they were all rock stars, yeah. So so I noticed there was these random girls, of course, like they're like the prettiest like whatever looking girls, and then there's the bartenders counting like the wads of cash. And I shit you not, there was like already like pre-cut up lines of said white powder like ready to go
You
on
mean cocaine?
yeah.
a
There
little
was
bit of
cocaine.
booger sugar there on
Yeah,
the
so
counter.
it was like random daughters of fathers that would not be pleased sitting with the bartender guys and girls, and they're all pretty hammered, and there's like the cash, and then there's like coke just like being cut up on the
Yeah,
bar.
why not include drugs?
And I'm just like at this point I'm like pulling the floor bar mats like out behind the bar and like hosing them outside and hosing the garbage cans and stuff, and I'm just like blown away from like everything I'm seeing.
It's really kind of a culture shock, though.
Yeah,
I didn't understand it either.
yeah, and I
And
was
so,
like,
you're like, wow, this is.
I basically, so yeah, at the, like after all that, the end of the night, I was like, oh my god, I survived. And I'm like, is that every? In my head, I was thinking like, because there was lady nights, 2 nights a week. I'm like, is that every ladies' night? Like, is that what's gonna happen? Like that was insanity. Like I don't even know if like I want to come back to all this, but like, of course, you're more intrigued and like curious about.
Yeah, but
what
after see how much you make that night, you're probably like,
Oh,
I could probably.
well, yeah, no. So that's the
come
thing too.
back.
Like from how broke I was and seeing all that money, I got like 15% of the total. No,
A bar bag? When I did it, I made like 10% of the bar.
yeah, I made like 10%, or I remember like 12 or 11% of like the bar, and that to me, so like that night I made like close to $200.
Exactly.
I don't know, but
that's-
that was, yeah, but making that in one night, I was like, oh my god, this is great. Like, I can't believe this. Little did I know, they're making like $400 to $500 that night, like
Yeah, I
between
know.
like 4 or 5 of them.
we
And
did
they-
this.
Yeah, and they were like, oh yeah, good job, man. Here you go. Like, don't like that. You earned that. That's what they said. They're like, you earned that. And like one guy who was kind of my mentor, he'd hand me like an extra 20 and be like, bro, you really worked your ass off tonight. Like, here's something extra. I'm like, oh, thank you, man. So I made like 290, like barely 300. And I'm
Yeah.
just like,
In one night.
yeah. And I'm like, holy crap, that's amazing. And they'd give me like one beer. I like turned 21 like just then too. Or I was like, maybe I was 21. I remember. They're like, yeah, man, you get a free beer too. I was like, oh my god, I get like this much money and a free beer.
In a beer, and it's
Yeah.
like.
And then they were like, you're doing great, like keep it up. And I'm like, but because I'm helping them make all this fucking
You're
money.
fucking
like,
bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
yeah. So I was just like swept up into that in one night, and I'm like, you guys pull all these girls and get all this cash, and you're doing drugs out in the open, and you get all this free beer and free shots after the end of the like at the end of the shift. I was like, oh my god, like where do I sign up, like kind of thing.
Yeah, it sounds cool at first.
Yeah.
And then.
And you have like the guys that are like,
yeah.
yeah, you have like the 30-year-olds or like the 29-year-olds are like, dude, it's like
Who are veterans in
you
this
know,
industry.
it's like walk hard. It's like, you don't want none of this, do we? Like, get out of this.
No, and that's the real thing. 'cause
And
at first you're like, I think I want me some of
I
that.
think I
cocaine.
want some of this. They're
Yeah,
like,
cocaine.
and they're like, if you stay in it long enough, you can be like us. And I'm like, challenge accepted. I will do everything I can.
Yep, and look where we're at now.
Meanwhile, one of the guys that like was pretty much like training me to become a future like bartender there, or just like giving like the ins and outs, like the tidbits, or whatever. He was like, I'm gonna call you 2 weeks. And I'm like, what? I'm gonna call you 2 weeks. That's all. I don't give a fuck what your name is at all. I'm like, okay, cool. Why? He goes, because you're not gonna last more than 2 weeks here.
Yeah.
So there's no point in me fucking learning anything about you or who you are or what your name is 2 weeks. And I'm just like, challenge accepted, asshole. Like,
Yeah, I
I'm
know.
Like, yeah, I'm like, so in my mind, I'm like, I'll prove you wrong, dickhead. And so yeah.
That's
And
the same way.
yeah, so the first night was zombie costumes, ladies' night, all you can drink,
Lady's foot.
pounds, yeah, ladies' foot, almost getting my ass kicked by this big fat girl that was ghetto AF and wanted to kill me.
What did she sound like?
Dude, I'm not even gonna.
Could you
get
do
in-
an impression?
I'm not gonna get into that.
Please do.
Just think of some girl going, "I'm gonna beat your ass,"
I'm gonna beat your ass.
and in your face, I could smell her fucking breath.
Damn! I bet it smell like Newports.
I think she was bigger than me, but yeah. And then just
You
like
think?
mounds of cash next to coke and random ass girls. They're like all sweaty and
Were they
just,
doing
like,
lines off the bar?
yeah, they were like it was on the. That's what I'm saying. I'm like it was like
so classy.
it was like the most lawless thing I've ever seen inside of a restaurant.
It's fucking-
bar. Yeah, and I don't want to go into the names of like what bar was, like who was there doing all that.
No. Those are disclosed.
Yeah. But yeah, once that happened, I was like, dude, this is like.
We
it
know
felt
where
like
this was.
Yeah.
No, we all know where
If you live where we live, you know what place we're talking. I mean, you might be confused with one other bar that doesn't exist anymore. But this one is still in full swing. But
They call
not
it
like,
dirty for a reason.
Yeah, nice. But yeah, it was. I was like, dude, it felt like I was like a cowboy saloon. Like,
Hands down.
Yeah.
No, like really, like once.
and if the bartender said whatever they said was like their word was gold, and that was okay for the bouncers. They're
Oh
like,
yeah.
They're like, she can stay, he can stay. They're cool. Everyone else get the fuck out. And they're like, all right, cool. And the bouncers, like, it's like the whole like they don't see shit, they don't snitch or like.
Yep.
Yeah, so it
The
was
bouncers
like
are there just to keep the peace.
they're just the
They're not gonna-
enforcers.
yeah.
And I saw this too. Like they basically like the bartenders be like, yo, this guy getting the fuck out, and then these big guys just be like, voop, and just like remove,
Literally.
like erase you or whatever. And like I'm like, oh my god, these bartenders are like the coolest people I've ever seen in my life.
You
and they're
think
just
that
like,
at first.
yeah.
I mean, I haven't worked with any.
And then of
Piece of
course
shit
like
bartenders.
yeah, but of course like every one of them they all had stories too that they would like tell me and talk about. I'm like, no way, man, like that's not possible, it's not true, because I came from like fine dining, like, you know what I'm talking about, like
Where were you a busser? At a country club?
it was Fleming's and this other like mom and pop
okay.
locally owned business, but
And you had to wear like a
yeah, I had
like
to
a
wear
shirt
like,
and
like
everything?
a button up shirt like
Yeah.
to my fucking throat, and
Yep.
I had to like tuck my shirt in and like make sure my collar or my
Yeah.
collar and wrist whatever my
We're done. Yeah, that was my
like,
first job
freaking
too.
like, give me cufflinks, what the fuck. And I'm like, yeah, and like he had like carry like full plates or trays of like 4 or 5 plates and like have the whole thing and like whip it out and put like serve in sections or whatever, like tables and stuff.
Yeah. So like the fine dining where like you have to serve each table, each seat has a number, and you
Yeah.
have to go on 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, so I would do like one job of that, like wearing one different outfit during the day, and then go to the next one.
Another one at night?
Yeah, and that was like my day off, and then I'd go to class the other days. So I was like in school, and I'm like thinking like, man, working a whole day working 2 different jobs, driving back and forth. I made $60 today. Wow, and that was like twice a week.
I
I'm
know,
like,
yeah. It's, you're just
So then
like
of course I
killing
find this.
yourself.
I walk into like this like snake pit where I make like $300 working like a
In
like a
one
freaking-
night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's on Hall. And I'm like, wow, you guys have like I make more money. There's absolutely no rules here or God anywhere, and everyone thinks you're the coolest person. And I'd like, go back to my buddies at our house that we were renting out of. And I'd be like, I remember I had like a wad of 500 cash in the first few couple days, and I'm like, yo, here's the rent. like, oh wow, like, dude, I thought it was a baller because
Yeah,
I had
know,
rent paid like
yeah.
in a couple days, but
Just nice because you can do that. And
Yeah.
also, but like,
so after that, I was freaking sold on this new gig that I didn't even know. Little did I know I'd be doing that for like the next 8 years.
it's not an extremely horrible gig.
Nah,
And you know what?
especially when
I
you're like,
realized
yeah,
that it's not hard.
No,
Just the people that you work with and the people that surround you make it hard.
yeah, and it
Or
definitely
they can make it easier or they can make it harder.
it's the situations
Yeah.
surrounding it that make it challenging, like mentally and physically, and but also like me being like I was 20, I believe. I was turning 21
In 2015,
I don't remember. I might have been 19, 20. I don't forget. All I know is I was
I
getting
was
beer.
17.
Yeah, I know. I wasn't like. I don't think I was supposed to be drinking, but I was because like there were no rules, like I said.
No,
And
there's not.
that would have been a rough story because I was working in Naples and then commuting back to like Estero, Fort Myers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I wasn't getting home till like 4 a.m.
Wow.
Yeah, because after that, of course, like now your bar staff is like drunk and coked up, and they're counting their like hundreds,
Yeah, I know.
and they're talking to whatever girls they picked up, and just like. At some point, I was like, "Am I good to go? Like, I'm gonna head out now because it's almost like 5."
And then they're like, "Oh, you could have been left, bro."
Yeah. And
That would have been nice to know an
and
hour
I always
ago.
wondered, I'm like, you guys are just like they would just stay out back, like in the back parking lot, like sitting on like the ledges, like little like stoop areas, probably till like 6, 7 in the morning.
Yep.
Like waiting for the sunrise.
I've done that with you.
Yeah.
Or like we'll go in the back, like they did the money and everything. We'd go in the back and play pool till the fucking sun came up.
Oh, true. Yeah. A couple times like that.
And we'd bet money playing pool.
Yeah.
I won another $500 one night playing pool with some guy who was way better than me.
Nice. Yikes.
We did teams, and he was way better.
Yeah, that was the ship sailed after that.
Yeah, I know. You kind of get. It's like. It's
Then,
hard to
yeah.
like let go of a job where you make so much in like a weekend.
And then they could give you the promise that like you can move onward like and upward in this industry.
Yeah, but
I'm like, wait, so there's
the
more of
farther
this
you
here?
move up, the more responsibility you
Yeah.
have, and you're like,
Yeah.
I was at least.
I guess in my experience, like from what I was witnessing, it was like people like our age now, like almost in their 30s, and they're at least for me, and they're like, but they're acting like they're like kids. It was like the Lost Boys.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
like you never,
for sure.
you
don't
never grow old,
up.
you can never die, and the party just keeps on going, and you have a blast doing it. And I'm just like, this sounds too good to be true, but I'm interested, and I'm fascinated.
Yeah, it's definitely It's definitely.
And of course, like, yeah, just starting off in college, you're like, dude, I could be a bartender while going to college. Like, yeah.
And you're like, fuck yeah,
Yeah,
bro.
it's kind of like the Tom Cruise, like,
Cocktail.
yeah, cocktail. I'm like, dude, this is like a movie I'm living in. Like, hell yeah.
Yeah, I know.
And
It
I'm
seems
like,
that way. And
yeah.
like, it's like, I don't know if you're anything like me before you worked in the industry, but I was like kind of pure and like maybe a little bit innocent. I was in the Marine Corps, so I wasn't that innocent.
I didn't
but-
start drinking until around 21. Like, I stayed away from.
we-
I didn't party
yeah,
in high school or
we
anything.
drank a
Yeah.
lot. That's all you can do in the
I
military.
think it's word.
But
Yeah, so well, I guess like the floodgates open for me at this point.
Yeah.
With the whole, I'm like, wow, a job where you can like party your ass off,
I know
make
it's
money,
like-
and still go to school, and then go back to work. Like work was a party basically.
yeah, exactly. Like you're ripping shots at work. You
Yeah.
clock in and there's a shock tart in front of you, and you're like,
And you-
"Oh,
like, you're the
whatever,
man
who
when you walk
cares?"
in.
And then like when it gets really busy, you go in the back and do a pop with one of the bartenders of like
Yeah.
straight tequila, and you're like, wow.
There's sometimes
I'm at work right now.
Sometimes we would shotgun beers like in the back.
Oh, I would do that
Yeah.
in the Marine Corps too, but you go on a lunch break and you go back to your room
Yeah.
and you have a nice cold thing, and you're like, fuck it, who cares? I hate
It's
this
also
job.
hard
I'm
too,
about to
yeah.
get out.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But then we had the bouncers too that would just like back up whatever the fuck we said.
Oh, I know. Yeah, you had
Like we made the rules there. It was weird. And like this particular place, the owner was not really there ever at all a lot. So it's like
he's never
whoever the
there.
supervisor was,
Yeah.
he was. That was like the person that was in
Which
charge.
can also
Yeah.
be a problem. You have a supervisor. You don't
And
have
even when there was a
manager.
problem, the supervisor was just like, just don't get caught doing it, bro. That's basically what they would always say.
Oh, exactly.
Like we all do the same stuff.
Exactly.
Just don't get caught. It was kind of like Goodfellas too. It's like you have a couple rules, don't break them, and don't get caught by the big man.
Yep.
And yeah,
Don't get caught by the big man.
so that was my intro to a
Solid
future,
intro.
yeah, like the next decade of working behind a bar and
Is a good first step
this is
into
the
this
first step,
larger world that
Yeah.
is behind the bar.
yeah, and then all the people that you meet that come with the territory and stuff, and
It's
guess-
definitely a culture shock. Also,
Yeah.
like the whole it took me a while to get used to like you don't go to work until 5, but you work until 2 a.m.
yeah,
and then you're asleep. You basically turn into a
you
vampire.
become a night owl, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
And that's a hard habit to shake now that I have class at
Definitely.
8 a.m. sometimes 10
Yeah.
a.m. But
Well, wrap this up.
yeah, good talk, good experience.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
If you guys like our stories, what you heard,
What you heard with your
Hid.
ears.
yeah, what you hear with your eyes and see with your ears,
Go ahead and give us a follow.
Yeah.
Give us a subscribe. Show us to your friends.
and please comment about your first time. If you're in
If
the
you
industry,
have.
yeah, what your introduction to
Do
the.
you do drugs? I want to know about
Do
it.
your parents know? We want to know if your parents know.
How much money does your dad make a year?
What are your taxes like? How do you do taxes? Yeah, but
They didn't teach me that
leave
in
us
school.
comments like that, and we will read them out loud. Whatever we think is the funniest one, or we'll read all of them because there are probably like 3 so far.
Yeah,
We need to
we need stories about people doing drugs at work.
yes, because
We won't say your name.
we don't think that goes on outside of our job industry or our world.
As far as I know, like it must be hard to do drugs at like when you work at a bank.
Yeah.
Maybe at Walmart you could get away with
I
it.
feel like a lot of places of business do drugs, like so
Have to.
out in the open.
You know those fast food workers, man. You go to like McDonald's and that guy who's making you burger just got back inside from smoking a J. You know that happens.
At my new job, I see the Pete the Domino's. I don't know. Can we say corporate names?
Yeah.
I
Just did.
walk outside like with the trash, and I go back inside. But right before I go back, I smell like the devil's lettuce.
Yeah.
And I look to my left, and there's like 3 pizza kids, and they look at me, and they're like mid pass.
They're like deers in the headlight.
They're like, is he cool?
I'm like, dude, we don't care.
Yeah, I'm looking at. I'm like, dude, I don't give. Like, yeah. I think I was gonna be like, if I was cool, I'd be like, yo, am I next? Like, pass it up. Then again,
You're not that-
I've always.
You're not that cool though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then my second or immediate thought following that is, herpes is a gift that keeps on giving. So, keep the J.
We all have that already though.
Yeah.
Yeah. But seriously,
not.
like, subscribe, comment, do all that fun, good, Gucci shit, and please watch the next one.
Stay tuned for episode 2. There's a lot more stories.
That's Steven.
Steve.
Steve. I'm Rogers. We are the Florida Cracker Chronicles.
Peace.
Out.